Things don't always go to plan, and when I sat down to do this painting, it just all went wrong. I didn't have a clear idea of the painting I wanted to create, or even the style of textured art that I wanted to do. So when I sat down in front of the blank canvas, that feeling of overwhelm was exacerbated. I think you really need to know where to start, otherwise the blank canvas can feel like an unfillable void. I've seen a few artists on Instagram doing textured art with their hands straight onto canvas, and I thought it looked really fun and a way to just be free with what you create, not being confined by what you can do with a brush, just letting go and seeing what happens. I decided to give it a try, but by the time I'd spread the texture paste with my hands, the gloves were quite caked in the paste. So once I came to creating the design, I felt like it was really hard to actually move the texture paste in the way I wanted to, without it getting stuck to the glove. Also, because I'd spread it with my hand, it wasn't evenly spread, which meant some parts were easier to create the texture in than others. Also, on this size canvas, it was really quick to complete, which felt a bit jarring. I think I had in my head that it needs to take a certain amount of time to feel like you've really created something. Even though I liked how it looked, I wasn't sure about keeping it. I was thinking to myself, is it really worth it, or is it just a waste of a canvas? Should I be putting more time into it? I decided, as this was just my first attempt, I should try again. But the same thing happened, and I found myself overthinking about whether I should keep the piece or not keep the piece. It is really cool that when creating art using texture paste, it's easy to wipe it off and start again, but I think in this moment it was not a good thing. I was getting really in my head with all of my thoughts and feelings, so I decided to try a different style using the texture comb. I really enjoyed creating this piece, and I liked how it was looking, especially after I added the S shape going across the middle. But then on the final arch there wasn't quite enough texture paste, and so the definition of the lines was not very good, and I felt like it ruined the whole piece. I wasn't sure how to salvage it. My husband came to see me at this point, and he loved the piece. I thought I needed to restart it, but he totally disagreed. Unfortunately, I was in such a weird frame of mind that I just wouldn't listen. Ultimately, I think it was perfectionism getting in my way. I had this idea that I shouldn't waste a canvas on something that wasn't perfect. But really, I'd created an unknown, unattainable goal in my head of what I should create. But I think the real magic of all of this came when I sat down and reviewed the footage that you're now watching. As I watched myself create these pieces, I realised how much I love each of them. I think they looked amazing, and I regret choosing to wipe them away. It turns out that they were worth the use of the canvas they were created on. Each one of these pieces would have been part of my story, in learning to create and becoming an artist. Even though I have the footage captured, It's a shame that I destroyed them. It's not about keeping every piece of art, and it's not about living with regret. It's just recognising that I made a mistake in chasing perfect and missed the beauty along the way. The biggest mistake was overthinking, wasting the resources, and letting that stop me from creating. We all do it all of the time. We let perfectionism get in the way. We'll wait until we have the perfect idea to begin, or we won't learn something new because we know we won't be very good at it to begin with. Or there might be a cultural or societal benchmark that we don't feel like we are able to measure up to, so then we just count ourselves out. I think this time it wasn't about perfectionism stopping me from beginning. It was forgetting that perfectionism can get in the way on the journey too. Art isn't about being perfect, really, because when you think about it, perfect is deeply subjective and therefore ultimately impossible. If perfect is impossible, I think we would all do well working towards letting go of perfectionism and instead approaching life with an open mind, a willingness to learn, and celebrating the taking action rather than just the end result. I didn't think I would want to share my failed attempts. In fact, I thought I would just delete this footage altogether. But in the end, the lessons I learned in creating this piece mean so much to me. There's so much emotion and feelings wrapped up in creating art, taking your ideas out of your head and putting them onto canvas for others to see. Sometimes that's not easy, and that's okay. I decided I wanted to share the full process with you, to encourage you to give new things a try and don't be too quick to trash your results. Going forward, I'm going to endeavour to trust the process, to be okay with letting a piece be, even if it's got imperfections. And on this journey to becoming an artist, I need to give myself a chance to play, to experiment and to keep the progress so that I can look back and see how far I've come. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you for my next piece. Goodbye.